Now, I'm about to tell you something that might sound crazy. About 4 years ago, I put $17,000 into a business that was supposed to make me money while I slept. 6 months later, I was broke, stressed, and ready to give up. Now, one of my drivers had disappeared with my car, and my mechanic bills were eating up all my profit. Now, I couldn't really sleep because I wondered whether the next day would be the day everything collapsed. But here is the twist. That same business that almost made me collapse, it's now making some people in Africa more than $4,800 per month. Now, some own 200 cars, some have been running successful for over 10 years. So what's the difference between them and me? That's exactly what we are going to cover today. And if you are thinking about starting a taxi business in Africa, or you are from the diaspora looking to invest back home, what I'm about to share will save you thousands of dollars and years of pain. My name is Asangwe Luis and you're watching Africa Today. Now, Africa Today is a business channel shifting the mindset from the poverty narrative to the Africa with very high financial potential. That's why we make videos on entrepreneurship, businesses, and also talk about geopolitics, because you can't do business if you don't know about the geopolitical landscape of wherever you're doing that business. Now, back to our story. There is an African proverb that says, smooth seas don't make skillful sailors. When I first heard about the taxi business, I thought I had found smooth seas. Buy a car, hire a driver, collect money. Simple, right? Wrong. See, here's what nobody tells you when you are starting out. The taxi business in Africa looks simple from the outside, and that's exactly why more than 60% of people who start this business fail before the 3rd year. But here's what's interesting. While 60 people are failing, there is a small group of people who are actually crushing it in this business. And the difference between these two groups, it has nothing to do with luck. It has nothing to do with how much money you start with. It has everything to do with knowing something that most people discover too late. Now, in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly what that is. But first, let me tell you why this matters. Now, something massive is happening in Africa right now, and most people aren't really paying attention. Let me give you some numbers. Asia has 530 million cars. Europe has 405 million cars. North America has 300 million cars. And Africa, just 30 million cars. But here is the thing. Africa has almost 20% of the world's population. Do you see the gap? Now, you might be thinking, okay, there aren't so many cars. So what? Well, let me ask you this. What happens when 1.2 billion people start moving into cities over the next 30 years? Because that's what's happening right now. Africa has the fastest urbanization rate in the world. By 2050, 7 out of every 10 Africans will be living in cities. Cities need transportation. Lots of it. But here is where it gets interesting. Most Africans can't afford to buy their own cars. The middle class is growing, but car ownership still out of reach for most people. So what do? They need taxis. They need the right services. They need someone to get them from point A to point B every single day. And that creates opportunity. But, and this is important, opportunity and success aren't the same thing. Because if they were, those 60% of failed taxi businesses will still be running today. So what's killing these businesses? Let me show you exactly where I went wrong. 4 years ago, I bought 3 taxis. I was excited. I had done my research. Oh, so I thought. I spent about $17,000 total. Not brand new cars, but decent ones. I hired 3 drivers. They all seemed reliable enough. They said they had the experience. Now, the first week was really amazing. Between the 3 cars, I was making around $360. And I was thinking, this is easy. I'm going to scale up to 20 cars. The second week, $340. Still good. The third week, $280. I started getting concerned. Called the drivers. They said business was slow. I believed them. Fourth week, one driver said his car needed repairs, brake problems. So I told him to take it to the garage and send me the bill. The bill came $300. Something fell off, but I paid it. What else could I do? The next month, the same pattern, money going down, repairs going up. Then one day, the same driver called, said the transmission was broken. He said he needed $800 to fix it. It's then I started asking some serious questions. I called the garage directly, and the garage owner told me they had never seen those cars. You know, when I started this business, I took my 3 drivers to my regular garage, and I told the drivers that anytime they have a problem, they should get to that garage because I have confidence in that. In the garagist, he's a very good guy. He knows how to do his work. So after receiving this information from the garage owner, it's then I noticed that my driver has been pocketing money for repairs. He had just been lying about the repairs while keeping more money for himself. And when I confronted him, he disappeared with my car. I reported it to the police, but you know how that goes. I never saw that car again. Meanwhile, the other 2 drivers were draining me with inflated expenses and underreported income. So by the time I cut my losses and sold the remaining 2 cars at a discount, I had lost over $9,000 from my initial $17,000 investment. Plus, all the sleepless nights and stress, I felt like an idiot. But here's what I learned later. I wasn't an idiot. I didn't just know the rules of the game. And in the taxi business, there are rules. You break them, you lose. You follow them, and you can build real wealth. Let me show you what I mean. After I lost everything, I did something different. Instead of giving up, I started studying people who were actually winning in this business. The ones with 100 cars, 200 cars, 300 cars. And I found something interesting. They all followed the same 3 rules. Miss even one of these, and you are setting yourself up to fail. Ready? Here they are. Now, this sounds harsh, but it's true. And here is why nobody talks about it. When you hire a driver, you are not hiring someone to just drive your car. You are handing over your assets to someone you barely know. Every day they have access to a machine worth thousands of dollars, and you are not there to watch them. Now, most drivers are honest people trying to make a living, but some aren't. And here is the problem. You won't know which type you have until it's too late. So here is what the successful taxi owners do. They get references, not just one reference, multiple references, and they actually call those references. If you want to employ a taxi driver, you need to ask that driver who the driver was working for before he met you. Now, he has to give you the number of the former boss. And when you call the former boss, you need to ask specific questions. How long did this driver work with you? Can you hire this driver again? Why did they leave? Now, if the driver refused to give you references, red flag, walk away. Now, if they give you references, but the number is not going through, red flag, walk away. Also, and this is critical, never let your driver take the car to the garage alone. I learned this the expensive way. When drivers go to the garage alone, they can create fake problems, inflate bills, or just pocket your money. who takes the car to the garage then? And that brings us to pillar number 2. Now, this is where most people mess up. They think, I'll manage the car myself. How hard can it be? Very hard, trust me. Now, here is what happens to me before I got a manager. I was getting calls at 2 a.m. about car problems. I was driving across town to check on repairs, arguing with drivers about money, trying to track who paid what and when. I had no life. This business was supposed to give me freedom. You remember I told you at the beginning of this video that it was supposed to make me money while I slept or while I do other things? It was supposed to give me freedom. Instead, it became a prison. A manager changes everything. And before you say I can't afford a manager, let me break down the math for you. A manager costs about $100 per month for one car. Add $50 for each additional car. So if you have 5 cars, you are paying $100 plus $250, which is $350 total. Sounds expensive? Let me show you why it's actually cheap. Without a manager, your car might sit in the garage for 5 days because you are too busy to follow up. 5 days at $20 per day is $100 lost. Your manager would have gotten that car back on the road in just 1 day. Now, another thing is that taxi drivers know that managers don't play. It's their job. Everything has to be efficient for the manager to stay in business. So they don't joke with the manager. And the manager knows many drivers. The manager at any one moment has a list of drivers he can trust. So when you are working with the manager, you better take care. Without the manager, your driver might be skimming $10 per day because you are not tracking properly. Over a month, that's $300 gone. Without the manager, you might miss an insurance renewal and get hit with a penalty. That's another $100. You see where we are going with this? A good manager doesn't really cost you money. A good manager saves you money. And more importantly, they give you time to actually build wealth instead of just babysitting one car. But here is the key. Your manager needs to be someone you can fire. If you can't fire, don't hire. No family members unless you are okay with losing that relationship. No close friends unless you are ready for things to get awkward. Business is business. Keep it that way. Now, here is pillar number 3. And this one is sneaky because it seems obvious, but most people still get it wrong. Now, let me ask you a question. If you are starting a taxi business in Lagos, would you buy a Peugeot or a Toyota Corolla? Now, if you said Peugeot because you got a good deal, congratulations, you just set yourself up to fail. And here is why. In Lagos, most taxis are Toyota Corollas. That means mechanics know how to fix them. Spare parts are everywhere. They are cheap to maintain. Drivers are familiar with them. A Peugeot might be cheaper to buy, but you will pay for it later in repairs, downtime, and headaches. Different countries, different popular cars. In Ghana, it's Toyota Yaris. In Cameroon, Toyota Yaris. In Kenya, Toyota Raptis. In South Africa, mostly white sedans. The rule is simple. Buy what's common in your market. And here is another thing. Don't buy old cars thinking you are saving money. Those old cars will eat you up alive with repairs. Aim for something between $2,500 and $8,000. Depending on your market, newer is better. Also, if you are building a fleet, buy the same model for every car. Why? Because if one driver is sick, another driver can easily switch that car. And if one car breaks down completely, you can use it as spare parts for the others. Now, these 3 pillars seem simple, right? But I can tell you, missing just one of them is why people fail. Now, speaking of tracking and managing your business properly. Let me share something that saved me after I restarted, and this goes for every single business that you start. It mustn't be a taxi business or whatever business you start. This is very vital. Running your business without proper records is like driving a car with your eyes closed. That's why small businesses fail. Statistics show that 50% of all businesses fail within the first 5 years. People lose money, forget debt, and struggle to grow. And this is exactly why I created the Business and Personal Finance Planner. It's a collection of over 15 simple spreadsheet trackers, cash flow books, budget trackers, inventory trackers, work planners, invoice templates. Everything already has the formulas built in. No internet needed, no monthly subscriptions. Just enter your data and it shows you the results automatically. You can find the link in the description below. Now let me show you the money side of this business. Now let's talk numbers, real numbers. Here's what it costs you to start, and here is what you can make out of this business. Starting cost. For a car, you need between $2,500 to $8,000, depending on how new you want to go. The insurance will cost you about $250. It varies by country. Painting, branding will be about $100 to $200. And the initial manager payment will be about $100. So you are looking roughly at $3,500 to $8,500 to get started. Now, for the income, it depends with your initial contract with the driver. The most common model in Africa is the daily payment system. Your driver pays you fixed amounts every single day. In Cameroon, for example, it is $20 per day. And here is the math. Your driver works 6 days per week at $20 per day. He keeps 1 day for himself. So that's 26 days per month for you. 26 multiplied by $20 makes $520 per month per car. But wait, you have expenses. Insurance is about $83 per month. If you divide it up, manager is $100 for your first car. Occasional maintenance, let's say $50 per month on average. So your expenses would be about $233 per month. $520 income minus $233 expenses gives you about $287 profit per month per car. That might not sound much, but remember what I said earlier about scaling? If you have 5 cars, that's $1,435 per month. 10 cars, that's $2,870 per month. 20 cars, that's $5,740 per month. And your manager cost doesn't scale linearly. One manager can handle 15 to 20 cars with a good system. Some people I know have 200 cars. Do the math on that and see how much they gain per month. But here is where it gets interesting. There are 2 ways to make even more money that most taxi owners don't even know about. In a minute, I'm going to show you how one guy is making an additional $600 per month just by putting stickers on his cars. And it cost him nothing. But first, let me show you something that could change everything. Now, everyone thinks the taxi business is about volume. Get more cars, make more money. And that's true to an extent. But here is what the smart operators are doing instead. They are going premium. Now, let me explain. The traditional taxi model in most African countries work like this. You share the car with other passengers and the taxi drops you on the main road. You walk the rest way to your house. It's cheap, but it's not convenient. And there is a growing number of people in Africa who want something more convenient. The middle class is growing and the number of millionaires in Africa is growing faster than it has ever been before. Statistics show that the number of millionaires in Africa is going to grow by 47% over the next 10 years. That's one of the highest in the whole world. These people don't want to share rides. They don't want to walk from the main road. They want door-to-door service, and they will pay premium for it. So here is the deal. Take one or two of your better cars. The one worth about $8,000. Add some accessories, bottled water, phone charger, maybe some snacks. Keep it clean and comfortable. Then offer VIP service, private rides from point A right to their doorsteps. Now with this, you can charge 3 to 5 times more than regular taxi rates, and your cost barely different. Now, one friend of mine run 5 regular taxis and 2 VIP taxis. His regular taxis make him about $1,400 per month. His 2 VIP taxis, $1,200 per month. So here, 2 cars making almost the same as 5 cars. That's the power of going premium. But wait, there is more. You can also make money from advertising. Companies want to reach customers, and your taxi is basically a moving billboard. Real estate companies, they love this. They'll pay you $2 per day to put stickers on your car. Now, $2 doesn't really sound like much, but over 30 days, that's $60 per car. Now, if you have 10 cars, that's $600 per month. Pure profits. No extra work, just stickers. Now, this alone can cover your manager's salary and reduce your fuel costs. Now, let me tie all this together and show you what exactly to do next. Now, here is what I want you to understand. The taxi business in Africa is not a get-rich-quick scheme. It's a get-rich-smart opportunity. The difference between me 4 years ago and the people making $4,800 per month today comes down to 3 things. 1, they treat their drivers as risk they are. They verify, they monitor. They never let drivers go to the garage alone. They have a manager from day 1, even with 1 car, because time is more valuable than money and stress kills dreams. 3, they buy the right car for the right market. Not the car that looks good, not the car that's cheap, the car that makes business sense. Now follow these 3 rules and you can build something real, something that generates money while you sleep, something you can scale to 10 cars, 20 cars, 100 cars, 200 cars. But break even one of these rules, you would end up like I did 4 years ago. Down $9,000, stressed and wondering what went wrong. The opportunity is real. Africa's urbanization is not slowing down. The demand for transportation is only going to grow. The middle class is expanding. The market is there. The question is, are you going to be one of the 60% who fail because they didn't know the rules? Or are you going to be one of the 40% who succeeds because they learn from someone else's mistakes? I failed so that you don't have to. Take what I've learned, use it, build something. And if you are from the diaspora thinking to invest in Africa, this is one of the lowest barrier entries you can find. You don't need massive capital, you don't need a storefront, you don't need complicated supply chains. You just need $3,500, the right knowledge and discipline to follow the rules. I'm making this video because I know taxi business is one of the most riskiest businesses in Africa. Meanwhile, it has simple rules that when you follow, you make the money because the opportunity is there and it's very visible. It can be touched. People are making serious money from this business. So if this video helped you see the taxi business differently, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. We are building a community of Africans and diaspora investors who are serious about building wealth and developing Africa. New videos every week on investment opportunities, entrepreneurship, and the economic transformation happening across the continent. More to that, you have been consistently telling us in the comment section that you want Africa today to lead a movement of made in Africa. That's why we have decided to start a diaper manufacturing company, and this will just be the first in a series of manufacturing companies we want to bring to Africa. Remember, Africa imports more than 70% of what it consumes, so we want to change the narrative, not just by making business videos, not just by talking about politics in the country or in Africa, but also by taking real steps to bring manufacturing, and we want you to be part of it. The number of millionaires in Africa is going to increase by 47%, and we want a huge part of our viewers to be part of that percentage. I'm Asawel Luis. This is Africa Today. See you in my next video. Bye.